78% of suicide rates worldwide are men. What can we do to help them? Cut the double standards. Don't treat us like we're all pedophiles and rapists just 'cause he happened to have a cock. I feel like this is a thread posted by a man, read by many more men, and commented on by men. Convince me that we don't outnumber women here 10 to 1, and convince me that they give a shit. Good luck. Make the world a better place so there is no reason to want to do that. Stop blaming individual men for the actions of other men. Stop acting like we're dangerous. Listen to us when we say we have a problem instead of telling us that X other group has it worse and it's your fault anyways. Foster a society where it's okay for men to show weakness, emotion, other than anger, and love for their fellow man. Let them do their own thing with men only, not to be sexist or anything. What I mean by that is girls have a bunch of their girls-only clubs and other things as well where they can do their own thing without boys judging them, but when there was the Boy Scouts, probably one of the only men-only clubs besides nightclubs and the military, where boys could be themselves without girls judging them, they allowed girls in rather than changing the Girl Scouts to do the same activities Boy Scouts do. I do not know if this will help with stopping suicide, but it will help men be themselves and be happy. I deal with depression by going out of my way every day to do something kind for another person. It doesn't really make me feel better about myself, rather I feel happy for that person. R.I.P. to my father. He committed suicide and I found out on my birthday that night. What hurt the most is that he never reached out. Well-educated, doctorate in education. Prideful black man from the Caribbean. If you know West Indian men, you know how stubborn they are about seeking help. About a year and a half into a divorce and was essentially living alone. The loneliness took over and he attempted to take his life. Months down the line, he succeeded. What worries me is that folks fall into a depression and they honestly can't climb their way back out of it. Check on your introverted loved ones, they might be struggling more than you realize. I got an email for the Student Center asking for a survey review. Inside we have Adult and Commuter Resource Center, Women's Resource Center, Greek Council Center, Multicultural Resource Center, LGBTQ+ Resource Center, Student Council Center, something, Student Resource Center, even a game room, where most the guys hang out and play pool. No Men's Resource Center. Men are welcome to be at the Women's Center, especially for advice like relationship abuse and dysfunctional families, what the Women's Center does. But not a lot do. There are like 3 guys who visit frequently. And the occasional guy who comes with his girlfriend. I just wish that the guys had a place where they could go and feel comfortable talking to another guy who will understand and help the situation. But until then, they are welcome to come to the Women's Resource Center and get help, or just hang out and eat lunch with us. So in the survey, what do you think the center can improve on? Having a safe space for men. What do you think should be added to the center? A men's resource center. What do you think should be built, or what rooms do you think should be expanded? Build a men's resource center. I'm having a really hard time coping with being dumped from a 6-year relationship and I don't mind dying anymore. My ex is already quite happy dating someone else right after. This makes me very insecure. Heart pain when you haven't learned to feel emotions is super destructive. Man here, the feeling of never being able to provide is the reason I feel most men commit suicide. More and more men are stuck at home with their parents with no options or anywhere to go but exist. It all becomes too much and they see no escape, so they choose death. Make a livable wage available. Create, or find men to take work that brings a sense of satisfaction to their lives. Just a gut feeling, but I feel like a lot of jobs are redundant and are basically busy work. Finding pride and meaning in your work can go a long way. 1. Don't shut down help/safety centers for men. 2. Don't try to make it about women. 3. Change crime definitions to treat a crime as a crime, not based on the gender. My dad just committed suicide this week. Looking back, tell them you love them more, hug them more, show affection, get them therapy, push them to therapy, and most of all open up to them. People's reaction to men that commit suicide, greater than that's so tragic. If only he had gotten help. How could anyone think they're that alone? People's reaction to men on the verge of suicide. Greater than he's so creepy. He's such a downer. Stay away from him, he's such a freak. Can you imagine even living like that? Pathetic. What a loser. So cringe. It's pretty much this. I'm surprised this was even allowed to be posted for a length of time and it hasn't been turned into some type of reversal. Such as yes, 78% of suicide is from men, but it's actually women most affected, and then the entire topic becomes about them. Sorry, super cynical as being the grin and bear it sex, and when this is brought up the topic is laughed out where the discussion is taking place. Tell us where you wanna frickin' eat already, sheesh. Mandatory wellness lectures. Studied this topic for a bit in college, and this may be an unpopular take, but I don't see this as a gendered issue. Suicide is suicide. You help them the same way you'd help anyone. We know men aren't more likely to suffer from depression, anxiety, or even more likely to attempt suicide than women. We do know they're more likely to own weapons, less likely to be a primary caregiver, and generally more impulsive. Most suicides are not planned a great deal in advance. When men do attempt suicide, they generally use more violent methods than women do, hence more fatalities. This isn't to say that there aren't male-specific issues that are involved, but I see it as a very one-dimensional approach to say it's because men don't talk about feelings etc. like a lot of comments here do, when there are larger things at play. Stop hating on males for what the male has done in the past. Focus on the present, and don't try to get revenge. Show Bob's mission equals medicine. Give men a purpose. Stop putting men down in an attempt to raise women up. Stop making it out to be like every guy is the bad guy. Especially fathers who get a divorce and guys who open themselves up in front of others. It takes a toll when it feels like nobody cares about what we have to say or how we feel. Get to the root cause of suicide and depression, and help people find meaning and purpose in life. Taking the bias out of the legal system. Guys shouldn't have their lives ruined by women who are able to make baseless accusations, fleece them for child support, bonus points when they're not his kids, and the disproportionate sentences. Gun control. One of the reasons that men have higher suicide completion rates, even though they are less likely to attempt suicide, is that men are more likely to use firearms. At least in the US, suicides are the most common firearm-related death. For one, don't say that you'll listen to a man and then recoil when he actually tries to talk to you. If my own experience and the men I know is anything to go by, a man will take you at face value unless he knows you're a bullshitter by nature. You saying you can talk to me is his cue to do so. When you recoil, he feels it in his soul. He thought he could trust you in that moment. You've shown him that he can't and never will after that. Men are a largely straightforward bunch. Don't talk with both sides of your face. Job creation. On top of the first level benefit of lowered financial stress, it spreads from there to increased sense of confidence/self-worth. Men tend to tie value to their career, another cultural problem for another discussion, and frees up some disposable income to engage in hobbies and socialize. These links to the world and other people combine to reinforce and bolster them when they would otherwise start to think of their existence as a burden, one thing they can solve by not being there. I'm 50 and single. Lost my wife a while back. I work. I come home. I drink a bottle of vodka or a few bottles of wine most nights. Sometimes I eat. Sometimes I don't. Food is expensive. Sometimes I'll take a whole pack of painkillers when drunk to make it all go away. It doesn't. I get up the next day and repeat. I know I'm slowly killing myself. Prices go up, wages don't. Life gets harder every year. I don't even open bills anymore. I have stopped caring about everything. Life has no meaning. If they turn off the porn, I will have nothing left. Nobody will miss me when I'm gone. I am just going through the motions of being a human. I'm fucking lonely. Haven't held a woman for a decade. My only company is a cat, and I don't think he's as committed to the relationship as I am. I don't think I'm the only one like this. Cheers.